I think a lot of people found that, like, you get your routine, you train, COVID hit, all the gyms closed. I mean, how did you get through that period?
That was a really difficult thing for me, you know. I remember ordering weird gym equipment
Everyone was straight onto Amazon, weren't they?
scrambling to get stuff and doing these home workouts and that was tough, man. That really hit me, actually, and that's when I realised how important the gym and exercise was to me mentally. That's when I really realised.
Once it's taken
when
away,
it got taken away, I was like,
is,
all I want to do is get my workout in.
Right.
I was like, that became like the thing for me. I was like, I've got to figure out how to do this.
And when you're training, is it like you're almost in a meditative state, or do you find you're quite creative in that space? Because a lot of people have different experiences of when they're training. Yeah,
that's a really good question. So I find when I'm in the gym, everything in my brain is firing.
Okay.
So I'm actually, like, in between sets, making notes on my phone.
Okay.
For things that I need to do, things that I could be doing better, ideas that I've got. When I'm in the gym working out, it's all triggering.
So it's actually almost like a conduit for your creativity or inspiration. It helps you kind of get your thought process into order.
Yeah, 100%. And even when I'm in the gym training, people go, what music do you listen to? I actually listen to music that I'm working on.
Okay.
Because when I'm in the gym and I'm working out, it's almost like you're not focusing too much, on the actual track. It's kind of just like reference listening.
Okay.
I find it a really good way for me to identify things that need to be fixed on the track.
Almost more on a subconscious level rather than directly.
And then I'm making
attention.
notes like, take this hi-hat away or add a snare roll here or whatever. It's mad. And then I go to the studio and apply those notes, but a lot of it comes from listening to it when I'm working out. So it's a real big thing for me, man.
The thing is though, Joel, that's your training. That for a lot of people is kind of their downtime. You just described it as that's just more work. So how do you switch off? You've joked about watching Dragon's Den after a gig, but what are you doing for meaningful kind of R&R to properly recharge the batteries?
I don't.
Ever?
I don't. I'll be honest with you, man. I'm not going to make something up. I don't switch off. I just don't. It's constant, man. From the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed, I'm in the zone.
Do you think your brain's wired differently then? Because a lot of people just couldn't do it. And I don't mean that in a kind of facetious way. I'm genuinely interested. Do you think that you are just operating kind of, I don't know, on a different plane to other people?
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I know sometimes, like, when I've been at home, my family have gone like, what's wrong with you?
So I'm like, all right, paint me a picture then. It's Christmas Day, right? You've got a few days off. What are you doing? You can't be working then. You must be able to kind of switch off a little bit.
Yeah, do you know what? Sometimes, in moments like that, when it is like Christmas and you've got family around, or, I'll make a conscious effort to, be present for them and not be off in my head thinking about what I need to do.
Is that something you struggle with though? Like, because being present is so important and being connected to people is so important for mental health and just quality of life. Is that something you have struggled with or are struggling with?
I do try and check myself regularly to be present.
Okay.
I think it's important to be in the moment at times, especially big moments in my life,
Because you want to appreciate it,
well,
right?
you want to appreciate it, and I definitely, in moments, I'm like, Joel, you're about to walk on the main stage of Tomorrowland. Come on, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Are you literally talking to yourself like that? You're literally having that conversation?
I'm having a conversation in my head.
Nice.
And it's important to do that. And and you mentioned, like, when I'm around family or, other people and it's kind of their time, definitely to make the effort to be present with them. And I mean, in past relationships, like, maybe my relationship have struggled because I'll be sitting there not present and I'll be thinking I'm thinking about what work I need to do and then that can affect
Has that been the main
quality time,
Has that been the main kind of bone of contention you've had in relationships, is that people may feel that you're not giving them enough of yourself, you're not giving them enough time? Is that a common theme?
Yeah, I think I would agree to that. I would say that, like, that's definitely, it goes back to that thing of just like, with what I wanted to do, I knew how much I had to focus on it in almost a selfish way. That it's hard to then give someone, your full attention, and because the relationship's a work, right?
Yeah.
You've got to give back. It's not all give.
And a lot of people, it's 50-50. You've got to be there for someone and give and take. Do you think you can be incredibly successful without being selfish?
I would probably say no. I would say in most industries, I mean, you think of like sports stars and athletes. I mean, you know, I'm sure like they've dedicated their whole life to get to the top of their games, you know, and it is a selfish thing to do. I mean, like, obviously I can't speak for anyone but myself, but for me to have got to where I've got to, I've had to really kind of like be selfish and be almost isolated.
Right.
To just to commit that much amount of time to do what I needed to do.
And have your family always been supportive of that? Because when you have one family member who is incredibly driven or selfish, or however you want to phrase it, it can often cause friction because maybe someone else isn't getting as much attention or they don't feel like they're getting much from you. You know, do you need your family to understand that? Have they always understood that? And what about your friendship group as well? You must have to have certain types of friends that have stuck with you who can accept you for all of your positives and all of your flaws, maybe.
100%. Like first of all, my family are my absolute rock. They know me inside out. They know what I'm like, and they have seen me go through all the ups and downs on this journey, and they've been there through thick and thin for me.
And they celebrate your successes as well. It's a joint effort.
100%. And you know, I include them as much as I can. Like, I booked my mum on holiday to come out to Ibiza next week.
Nice.
And I did last year as well. So, you know, my sister's just come to New York for me this weekend. I've booked her tickets to come. You know, when I got nominated for Brit Award, you know, I booked them a suite at the O2. So, you know, whenever I have something going on, I'll make sure they're included to experience it with me.
Nice.
Because I feel like, you know, I don't really spend my money on anything, you know what I mean? So I'd rather spend it on them to give them great experiences and have them with me.
And I can
That's
imagine
what makes
you
me
could
happy.
have all the success in the world, but if there's no one there to share it with, you probably have to question whether or not it was worth it, right?
Yeah.
It's all about having that sense of community and shared celebration.
I've got a few, like I said, I've got like a very small circle of really good mates. And again, you know, they were out in Ibiza a few weeks ago. I got their flights and they stayed with me, and you know, I arranged the whole week for them so they could have a great experience. So, yeah, they probably have to put up with me being the way I am.
I mean,
but I try to give back as well.
It sounds like there's more than a few perks, though. To be honest,
yeah,
Joel.
exactly.
I'm sure they're not complaining now.
Well, listen, there is now. Do you know what I mean? Because the success has come, and there is perks, and there's these amazing experiences where, you know, they can come with me all over the world, and you know, the red carpet's rolled out. I make sure it's all great for them, and they have these amazing experiences, and I'm able to give that to them now. Because it's here, it's happening.
Yeah. Say we have this conversation in 20, 30 years' time, we're looking back at your career. What would you define as success? What are you going to look back on and go, do you know what, I absolutely nailed that, I aced it?
Wow, that's a big question. And I don't think I've got the answer for you. But
is that because you're just going to go with the flow? You're just going to try and say yes to things and eke out opportunities and seize things when they present themselves?
But at the same time, you know, like, obviously, if you ask me now, do you feel like I've been successful? I would say yes.
Okay.
I would say yes. You know, I've had like multiple platinum hit records. I've got residencies in Vegas, Ibiza. I've toured the world. Had a #1 record. You know, I've had success.
But I think that's amazing that you've got the ability to recognise now, whilst you're in the middle of it, that you've been successful. Because I think a lot of people maybe get caught up in what's next. I need to do something more. I need to prove myself more. But you're able to juggle that ambition, but also appreciate that you're in the moment and this is exactly what you wanted. I think that's quite a rare talent, right? To have those two things working side by side.
Well, the fire inside me to achieve more and my ambition is burning harder than ever. But I can definitely look at what's happened and be like, you know, this is amazing. This is the dream come true that I wanted. And always remind myself that you know, we spoke about it earlier, but whenever things are a bit tough and maybe, you know, the travel was getting a bit crazy or having a bit of a knock with something that's going on, I can still take those moments and be like, I'm so grateful to be here.
Right.
This is my dream. You know, I'm smashing it, and have those sort of reality checks, if you want.
And that must be really helpful in giving you kind of like perspective when things aren't going right, because I think for so many people, especially in a high pressure, high stressful job where you're traveling a lot, it's very easy to be a prima donna or to really kind of lose your mind because you've lost your baggage or whatever it is. But if you can take that step back and realise that you're living your dream, I imagine that makes those moments that little bit easier to navigate.
100%, and I think that also definitely keeps you grounded.
Okay.
Which is important because things do get crazy. I mean, like, you do get these, you know, life is constantly these mad experiences and people fussing over you and everything going on. So you do need to take those moments to stay grounded, and you know, that will never change with me. Whatever happens in my life, I won't change. I'm still the same person I was, you know, from years ago. It's just the things I'm doing have become bigger.
Yeah. So if it all gets taken away tomorrow, you're gonna be pleased with what you've done.
I mean, if that happened, I wouldn't be pleased. I would be like, but yeah, my mindset though has not changed. I'm still, you know, the same person before Sorry came out.
And nothing's going to change that, right?
No, nothing's going to change. That's what I mean. However big things get, I won't change as a person. I know that for sure, man.
Once you've spent even a little time with Joel Corry, it's impossible not to find yourself in his corner, rooting for him to succeed and to achieve more of his lifelong goals that even just a few years ago seemed impossibly out of reach. His passion and drive are infectious, and his willingness to sacrifice romance and relaxation in the pursuit of taking his place in the pantheon of DJ legends, in short, to become immortal, means I'd bet my last dollar on him achieving his ultimate ambition. As for whether he'll remain the same rounded and grounded guy if he does, I wouldn't bet against that either.